During the senior year placement exam, my genius best friend, my bestie, risked passing me a note. In the end, I copied with determination and accidentally ended up in the rocket class along with her. When I went to share the joy with her, I overheard someone asking my best friend, "Xia Tian Tian, have you gone stupid? Why would you copy from someone like Jiang Xingyao? Now it's good. That brainless fool with boobs but no brain has been admitted to the rockets class to compete with you." Xia Tian Tian sneered coldly. "Do you think I'm doing it for her sake? I just don't want her to stay in the same class and flirt with Zhou Ili. A pig-brained girl like her wouldn't understand a thing in the rockets class at all. It's a complete waste of time. The last year, she wasted it. Surely she'll fail the Gaokao. And then she'll either be screwing screws or sold to the countryside to marry a rough man. What can she compare with me to contend?" I stood outside the door, dumbfounded. I didn't expect she could lay such a big trap for me just for a crush she had. If that's the case, I have a matter about the champion group, and there's no need to share it with her. Before the exam, Xia Tian Tian in the front row turned her head in disappointment. "Xing Yao, once this exam is over, we'll be separated into different classes. I really don't want to part from you." Her words made my nose sting, and I pulled her along saying, "But you can't not join the rocket class just because you're reluctant to part with me. Xia Tian Tian is a top student, with grades consistently in the top 3 of the grade, and I am equally steady, but I can never make it into the top 300. So, in my view, this is a destined separation." Xia Tiantian's eyes turned red upon hearing this. She looked around, then lowered her voice. "Xing Yao, I can't stay in the original class, but you can come to the rocket class. First answer with what you're confident about, and wait for me to pass you a note." I thought she was kidding, but halfway through the exam, Xia Tian Tian really passed the note over. I originally planned to copy a bit, just to polish up my own results, but due to being too nervous, I accidentally copied everything. When the results were announced, I unsurprisingly and with no suspense moved into the rocket class with Xia Tian Tian. To celebrate, I specially bought sausages to share this joy with Xia Tian Tian, but I overheard another friend of hers asking her, "Xia Tian Tian, you're stupid. Why copy the kind of person like Jiang Xingyao?" Xia Tian Tian sneered softly. "Do you think I'm doing this for her sake? I just don't want her to stay in the same class and hit on Zhou Ili. Anyway, she wouldn't understand even if she joined the rocket team. It would just waste time, and she would definitely fail the college entrance exam a year later." I stood outside the door, dumbfounded. Zhou Ili is my desk mate. Because his family is rich, he's a bit arrogant, but he is precisely the one who listens to me the most. Not only does he bring me breakfast with new ideas every morning, but he also won't allow the other students in the class to bully me. Xia Tiantan secretly has a crush on Zhou Ili. A few days ago she even asked me, "Xing Yao, have you two started dating?" I hurriedly explained to her that we were just ordinary classmates. Just a breakfast buddy at most. I didn't expect that not only would she not believe me, but she would go so far as to set up such a big trap to keep me away from Zhou Ili and pinching the bag of grilled sausages. Thinking with a sigh, I woke up to the matter about the top-scoring college entrance exam group, and there's really no need to share it with her. The top scorer group was awakened during the second period. Back then, the teacher had just announced the grades. I heard I had also been admitted to the rocket class, and the class erupted in a buzz. Some congratulated me, some were disdainful, but most people were skeptical. Even the teacher spoke to me with a meaningfully discerning tone. "Jiang Xingyao, congratulations on your outstanding performance and admission to the rocket class. But you should know that the school now has weekly exams. If you can't rank within the top 100 before the end of term, you will be eliminated from the rocket class, and other high-achieving students will take your place. So, I hope I won't see you again in this class." My face flushed red with embarrassment. The desk mate Zhou Ili glared at the teacher in a sulky manner. "Teacher, please don't say any more. You scared Jiang Xingyao into a fever." Amidst a burst of laughter, a sudden ding rang in my head. Then a mechanical voice appeared. It told me that it is the system. Because my exam results this time were outstanding, They specially rewarded me with a top-scoring college entrance exam student group. There are 5 people in the group in total. Besides me, there are 4 provincial top scorers from last year. They will start tutoring me from today, guaranteeing that I can get into Tsinghua or Peking University. I froze. But this time my score was copied. The system told me in its cold, icy voice, "A hero doesn't ask where you come from. The school only looks at the grade. The process doesn't matter. Only the result matters." I was about to say that this was too unscrupulous, when my own subconscious was dragged into the group. For college entrance examination, top scorers started tutoring me without hesitation. The top scorers from the Gaokao are truly remarkable for difficulties I normally couldn't grasp. As long as they gently point them out, I instantly understand. After 3 lessons, I felt it was more transparent than what I typically learn in 3 months. So this is the charm of brain-filling, mental visualization. After the morning classes ended, Xia Tian and I checked in at the rocket class. There are 4 rocket classes, with 25 students in each class. Xia Tian and I are both in rocket class 1. At noon, she said she didn't want to eat lunch. I just ran out to buy grilled sausages, planning to share the matter about the top scorer group with her when I got back. I told her that with this group, I would likely be able to go to Tsinghua or Peking University with her. If that were the case, we wouldn't even have to be separated for college. But when I eagerly came back to find her, I heard those words from her. I quietly turned and prepared to leave, but Xia Tian suddenly pushed the door open. Seeing that I looked unhappy, she ran over and affectionately grabbed my hand. "Xing Yao, what's wrong with you? You got into the rocket class, yet you still look unhappy." I glanced at her and said nothing. She suddenly understood. "Oh, I see now. You must be worried about being eliminated and sent back, right?" She giggled, casually grabbing a grilled sausage and stuffing it into her mouth. One side draped over my shoulder as usual. She spoke unclearly. "Don't let the teacher scare you. Rest assured, every future exam I'll let you copy. I promise you, you absolutely won't be eliminated from the original class." Looking at her generous demeanor, I looked up at her and smiled. "Okay, Tian, I'm counting on you." 3. The rocket class moves at a fast pace. The teacher's most common line is, "You should all know this concept, so I won't go into detail." I'm completely puzzled. I don't know how. I've never learned it. I want to ask clearly, but when I look around, everyone has a calm look on their face. It seems like they all can. I can only silently lower the hand I was about to raise. I didn't expect that in the original class I couldn't understand, but here the teacher simply refuses to teach. No wonder Xia Tian goes to such lengths to get me in. As she said, bringing someone as stupid as me into class is like listening to a sacred text. It's purely a waste of time. I was so anxious that I tore at my hair, and the champions could not sit still, partially grabbing my consciousness and giving me a hard recall. Finally, I sorted out the threads from the tangle, and by applying what I had learned elsewhere, I assimilated even more knowledge points. When class ended, I was gulping water noisily, and Xia Tian came over. "Xing Yao, are you putting out a fire here? Drinking so much water." I tugged at the corner of my mouth. After one class, the CPU is burning hot. A flash of scorn and pride crossed Xia Tian's face. "Is it that hard?" She reached into the desk and pulled out a romance novel. "Here, during class, secretly take a look and relax." I pushed it back uncomfortably. "I can't. I'm already falling behind. How dare I read a novel? What are you afraid of?" She forcefully stuffs the novel into my hand. "If it really doesn't work, I'll tutor you after evening self-study." I sneer in my heart. To drag me into it, she really goes to great lengths. I pretended not to show my feelings and turned a few pages. Tian, you're so good to me." When evening study time came, I took my notebook to find Xia Tian to ask her questions, but she impatiently flicked me away. "I haven't finished my homework yet. How could I have time to deal with you? This kind of problem is so simple, think it through yourself. You can definitely solve it." Probably afraid I would get angry, She raised her face and smiled at me. Xing Yao, don't put too much pressure on yourself. If you can't do this one, move on to the next. Once I'm done with my stuff, I'll come and explain it to you. I was afraid that if I lingered again, she would never look at me again. Just in case. I was afraid she would notice my oddity. After 2 sessions of self-study, I have organized my English grammar completely. The process was enjoyable, but it was also very painful. At the toughest moment, I asked those top college entrance exam scorers, big brothers and sisters, since you are in my head anyway, why not just help me ace the Gaokao and get into Tsinghua or Peking University? This daydream of mine was mercilessly awakened. That would be cheating. If we cheat, we'll be trapped by the system here and can never return to our own world. For soon, Zhou Kao arrived. In the morning, just as I reached the teaching building, I saw Zhou Yili and Xia Tian chatting at the door. Zhou Yili held a box of milk and a sandwich made by his family's maid, and directly shoved them into my arms. Xing Yao, I was asking Xia Tian about how you're holding up. She says you're not bad. But why do I feel like your little face is waxy pale and you've slimmed down a lot? You think, is it that once you're in the rocket class, no one helps you prepare breakfast anymore? He chattered on and on. I was planning to say that when you nag. You really sound like my grandma. But I suddenly saw Xia Tiantian's envious gaze. So I pouted and nodded in grievance. Zhou Yili looked at me with distress and tooted a few times. Then from now on, I will go to your class every morning to deliver breakfast for you. I smiled warmly at him. Okay. Zhou Yili ran away, then turned back to fist me and shouted, Jiang Xingyao, you have to work hard in today's exam. I believe you can do it. Turning back, Xia Tiantian's face looked as if she had eaten ash. Xingyao, you two aren't in the same class anymore. You still let him food? Isn't that awkward? Aren't you afraid others will gossip? I took a big bite of a sandwich. As long as there is food to eat and calories to study, I don't care what others say. Both my mom and dad work away from home, and I stay with my grandma. She usually doesn't take care of me at all. If I can have breakfast, how blessed I am. Summer Chin frowned, her fingertips digging into her palm. What else she wanted to say? I had already run into the classroom. When the exam began, I realized that in just 1 week I had a good grip on 80% of the questions on the paper. I was concentrating on answering the questions when Xia Tian slipped a note to me. I didn't look at it and simply tucked it into my pocket. After the exam, Xia Tian asked me how I did. I laughed and said, this time I didn't copy everything. I copied selectively. But don't worry, I won't be eliminated. She tugged at the corner of her mouth. Of course. You've got sisters backing you up. Xing Yao, remember this. As long as you're in the rocket class, you'll be hot stuff. And you'll be smelted into a 985 anyway. 5 During the first period of self-study the next day, the teacher announced the weekly exam results. Xia Tian is starting the first semester this year, and I am starting the 83rd. So I successfully remained in the rocket class. But our grades didn't make Xia Tian happy. Because early in the morning, Zhou Yili ran to the classroom door to breakfast to me, and the classmates teased us curiously. This made Xia Tian very upset. All day long, she was not focused, and during math class the teacher asked her a question and she couldn't answer it. It made the teacher a bit angry. Sarcastically and with a sneer, some students shouldn't think that because they perform well and improve a lot, they don't need to listen in my class. No matter how smart you are, you still have to call me teacher. I don't believe there's anyone in this world who can get into Tsinghua or Peking University without attending classes. There was no name and no family name specified, but Xia Tian still had red around her eyes. Of course, this isn't something the teacher said just for Xia Tian to hear. It was also said to tell me, because I had been frantically cramming in my head with top students. I didn't even hear her calling my name when she asked me a question, but I didn't care. After class I dragged Xia Tian to go buy ice cream. I even advised her not to take the math teacher's words to heart. Xia Tian angrily shook off my hand. Your grades have always been poor, and you're thick-skinned. Of course you wouldn't care about the teacher's criticism. You said you copied selectively, yet you still copied up to the 83rd on the academic year, a jump of over 200 places from your previous scores. I heard that Joe Ely went there to heckle the homeroom teacher, saying something like, "We've really disappointed you. Jiang Xingyao won't be back this week. Jiang Xingyao, look at how glamorous you are." So how could you care about one or two criticisms from the teacher? I know she is jealous of me and hates me, but she still pretended to be surprised and aggrieved as she looked at me. Tian, I admit I copied a lot, not only because I wanted to be in the same class as you, but also because I'm vain. I know what I'm doing is wrong. How about this? Next time in the exam, I'll let myself be eliminated and go back to my original class. Before I could finish speaking, Xia Tian hurriedly interrupted me. No, you can't go back. I opened my mouth wide. Why? She stomped her foot in frustration. We're best friends. Am I not allowed to part with you? Afraid that I would overthink things. But this state of hers didn't last long. Because during evening study, I took a leave. I told the teacher that my grandmother was sick, but Xia Tian quickly noticed that Zhou Ili also took leave. The two of us went to eat hot pot, and I sent a moment's post that was only visible to Xia Tian. In less than 5 minutes after posting, S phone rang frantically, calling me, and in turn, neither of us answered. I thought that tonight's self-study session probably couldn't even memorize a single English word. 6 early the next morning, showed up at school with big dark circles under her eyes. When I opened the door, I was biting a meat bun, and I was slapped to the ground. She asked me angrily, Jiang Xingyao, did you go on a date with Zhou Ili during last night's self-study period? Normally, Xia Tianxin's persona is sweet and lovely, lively and innocent. I stood up feeling at a loss. Tian, what's wrong with you? You've become so scary. Xia Tian clenched her teeth in anger, glared around, and saw that the other students were staring at her as if they'd seen a ghost. She could only clear her throat lightly. I'm just worried you're messing around and will affect your grades. I looked at her curiously, leaning in to ask, does my grade depend on whether you let me copy or not? With you here, what is there to fear? Xia Tian choked and said, then you can't skip class to go out and play either. You're a young girl. What if a boy takes advantage of you? I giggled. He's so handsome, and his family is rich. If you say I'm taking advantage, it would be me taking advantage of him. Xia Tian was so angry that she nearly rolled her eyes. She gripped my arm tightly, and her nails pinched so hard it hurt me. Xingyao, what do you mean? Did you two get together? I pretended to act shy. Not yet, but he confessed to me last night. And you, what did you say? Her voice rose by an octave, and her hand trembled slightly in mine. I obviously didn't agree to him. I forced her hand apart. We haven't even taken the college entrance exam yet. How could I be dating anyone? Xia Tian breathed a sigh of relief. As long as you know. She sulked back to her seat. A female classmate turned around and asked her, Tian, you're really kind to Xingyao, even worrying about her early romance. Besides, she's so pretty, has a great figure, and got into the rocket class. It's not surprising that boys like her. Xia Tian hung her head in a sulk and whispered something. That girl listened, her eyes narrowing into a smile as she looked at me in surprise, then quickly turned her head back. But I heard it. Xia Tian was speaking the truth. Jiang Xingyao got into the rocket class because she copied mine. I covered my face with the book and couldn't help but laugh. Xia Tian could hardly hold back anymore. Because of Zhou Ili, Xia Tian ignored me all day. But by dinner time, she was afraid I would sneak out again to date Zhou Ili. So she specifically escorted me to the cafeteria to eat. She told me to wait at the desk while she went to get food for another friend. I suddenly craved fried chicken cutlets, so I ran over to tell her, only to hear her complain about me to that friend. Jiang Xingyao went out with Zhou Ili after self-study yesterday, and she said Zhou Ili confessed to her. That friend stood by, pouring fuel on the fire. Do you still not know? It said that Zhou Yili is now strutting about everywhere, saying Jiang Xingyao is surging forward, that the college entrance exam is definitely a matter for Qingbei, top universities. Whenever people mention his former desk partner, his pride lifts his tail nearly to the sky. Xia Tian was so angry that she could hardly hold the bowl steady, and she said, "Today I warned Jiang Xingyao not to let her grades suffer because of dating Zhou Yili." Guess what she said? She said her grades don't depend on whether I helped her cheat or not. Take a look at her, because I'm here. She's already shamelessly fearless. That friend is truly a seasoned expert. Quick to respond. Tian, what is this? Aren't you just helping them set up a date? Xia Tian was so angry she nearly dropped the dishes. A good friend continues to come up with ideas. I think you should just stop caring about her. For the next exam, let her fend for herself and roll back to the regular class. I don't believe it. When Zhou Yili knows she cheats, will he still like her? 7. The weather is getting colder, but Xia Tiantian's temper is getting hotter. Because of several exams, I stayed in the rocket class with my own strength, and I sometimes took leave during evening self-study to go out with Zhou Yili. I no longer sink to moments, but she still goes to the original class to inquire each time. I discovered that as long as I am on leave, Zhou Yili is not there. She guessed that Zhou Yili and I went out on a date, but every time she asked me, I said my grandmother is sick. She once angrily yelled at me, "Why is your grandma always sick? At such a crucial moment dragging you down. Why doesn't she go to die?" Because of this, the teacher even talked to her privately. They said it's fine to care about classmates, but wishing someone's grandma dead is not too good. Xia Tian was forced by the teacher to apologize to me. I advised her that my grandmother was really sick, and to not overthink it. But I would secretly look at my phone in class from time to time. There was always a smile at the corner of my mouth. Shy yet happy. Xia Tian noticed that something was off with me and questioned me several times whether I was texting Zhou Yili. I, of course, deny it outright. Tian, I'm just using my phone to read a novel. Didn't you say we should relax appropriately? She didn't believe my nonsense. So during class she was constantly distracted, watching me. Inside, she had always been torn between two instinctively opposed desires. On one hand, I worry that copying from me will earn him good grades, so Zhou Yili will idolize me even more. On the other hand, I fear that not letting him copy will lead to my elimination, so I return to being seated next to Zhou Yili as deskmate. As a result, her condition worsens, her immunity declines, and she falls ill every now and then. At last, after careful consideration, she made a decision before the final exams. A few days before the final exams, my posts were all over the school forum. An insider leaked that I cheated in the placement exam, and that's how I got into the rocket class. The posts were very popular. There were also comments below saying that the final exams were almost here, and the school would definitely take this matter seriously. When the time comes, I will strengthen proctoring, and it will surely reveal the real me, the cheater. During those days, the way my classmates looked at me was strange. They often gathered together to discuss something, but as soon as I appeared, the crowd would scatter immediately. The teacher also started to take a disliking to me, constantly whispering criticisms about me. I dressed up as if I were in a slump, lying on the desk every day. In a fit of anger, the teacher moved me to the last seat in the class. All the subject teachers tacitly stopped calling on me during class. They don't know that I wouldn't have it any other way. Because of this, I would have enough time for the top scorers in the college entrance examination to help me fill in the gaps. Soon, the final exams began. After 2 days of exams, Xia Tian had not sent me the answers. At first, after finishing each subject, she would apologize profusely and say that the teachers were too strict. I pretended to understand and wore a sulky look. Then she comforted me. "Xingyao, don't worry. After the next subject, I will definitely pass the answers to you." But with the next subject, she still had no word. Actually, I didn't care, because I could do it myself anyway. I flow smoothly and answer faster than she does. When the last subject was finished, Xia Tian cried into my arms as soon as she came out of the exam room. Xing Yao, I'm sorry. I didn't expect myself to be so useless. I didn't help you at all. But it's okay. Once you are eliminated and return to the original class, I will visit you often. 8 If I don't know who she is, I would really be moved to the point of hugging her and crying my eyes out. But I'm looking at her hypocritical look right now. I want to laugh, but I dare not laugh. My mouth twitching at every moment. And then I felt like vomiting. I want to go buy a bottle of Coke, calm myself, and then go to the washroom to rinse my eyes. But she held on to me and talked nonstop. By the way, Xing Yao, there's something I need to tell you. When you get back, don't hang out with Zhou Ili anymore. He now has a new desk mate. If you insist on sitting with him, how do you think his new desk mate will feel? With results like Zhou Ili's, in the end he can only study abroad with the Huajia family's money. You and he are not of the same ilk. So after you return you should find a quiet seat and sit down. You two aren't a match. Don't pay attention to him, and try to retake the exam. I don't know who deserves whom, who isn't worthy of whom. She was sure I would be kicked out of the rocket class. The endless talk arranged for my aftermath. I coughed awkwardly several times, but she paid no attention, until I reached out and pointed behind her. She just realized that Zhou Ili was standing right behind her. That kid has been listening from start to finish, his face darker than the bottom of a pot. Xia Tian, do you know why I like hanging out with Jiang Xingyao? Because even if she studies well, she won't look down on this or that like you do. Not only me, my parents like her too. They've been telling me not to give up on myself and to learn well from her. Xia Tiantian's face was flushed bright red. Learn from her? My grades are better than hers. Shouldn't your parents tell you to learn from me? I dare not. I don't deserve it. Zhou Ili shrugged and walked away. Turned around again after 2 steps. Jiang Xingyao, not leaving until tonight. Xia Tian was about to go crazy with anger. What drove her even more crazy was, 2 days later, the results came out. I scored an 18 for the academic year, and Xia Tian, top 20 in the academic year, 2 places lower than me. She pinched the transcript and dragged me into an empty stairwell, her face pale with anger. She yelled at me, Jiang Xingyao, what's up with your grades? If I don't hand you a note, you just copy someone else's, right? You tell me, whose work did you copy this time? You're really bold, daring to copy up to the 18th year of the academic year? She didn't know. This time I really didn't copy anything. Those top students asked me to demonstrate my own abilities in answering the questions, to see what level I've reached. But I can't tell Xia Tian. I pursed my lips and pulled at her sleeve, starting to cry. Sorry, Tian. If you don't give me an answer, I'm afraid I'll be eliminated. During the exam I looked around everywhere and copied from a few surrounding classmates. I didn't secure it this time either. I copied aggressively and ended up getting a higher rank than you. I was wrong, and I'll be more careful next semester. After listening to me, Xia Tian calmed down a bit. She rolled her eyes at me. I've never seen someone so stupid, copying but not understanding even this. When you copy, you have to manage your score. Do you understand what I'm saying? She definitely doesn't believe this is my real score. In her eyes, I'm a pig-like idiot. How could I have reached year 18 in such a short time? I hurriedly nodded. I remember it. Starting next term I will definitely control my scores well. 9 After the final exam grades came out, the posts on the forum that spread rumors I had cheated my way into the rocket class gradually cooled down. Everyone thought it was a prank, and Xia Tian, because her grades had dropped too much, was repeatedly called by the subject teachers for talks. After winter break was over and the new term began, she seemed to stop paying attention to me and started studying frantically. But she was too hasty, studying until 2 or 3 in the morning every night. A few days later, her body couldn't take it anymore. Not only did her complexion look deathly pale, but her concentration also began to waver. Often, I would be listening to class and fall asleep on the desk. After all this turmoil, By the time the first mock exam for senior year approached, I was already worrying that she would be eliminated. On the day of the first mock exam, I decided to keep my promise with Xiaqintu, and I would manipulate the scores. When taking the math test, I was wondering which problem I should get wrong. Xia Tian unexpectedly passed me a note. I hurried to put it away but did not open it. Instead, I deal with the exam sheets at my own pace. After the exam, I ran to the bathroom to look at Xia Tiantian's answers, but I found that all the answers she gave me were wrong. Yes, all of them. They're all wrong. I was so angry I laughed. Xia Tian, no matter how bad she is, couldn't possibly get every question wrong. She clearly did it on purpose. In the next few exams, Xia Tian did the same thing, giving me all wrong answers. Obviously, she is now very anxious and eager to eliminate me. After all the exams, everyone returned to the classroom. Xia Tian asked me, "How is it? Have you copied everything?" I lowered my voice. I didn't dare copy all of it. I still picked and chose what to copy. Xia Tian let out a sigh and began to grade the exams. I carefully looked at the correct answers. If there were no points constraint, I would have several subjects with full marks. And the total score has reached 730. This is a terrifying number that I never dared to imagine. The 4 top scorers in my mind let out a long sigh of relief. One top-scoring sister was so excited that she cried. Finally, I see a glimmer of dawn. I have hope to go home. I was joking with them in my mind, when Xia Tian suddenly slammed a few books on the floor. The students who were discussing grades instantly fell silent. The teacher looked her up and down a few times. Xia Tian, you didn't do well on your own exam. What does it have to do with Guanshu? Why did you throw the book? Did the book offend you? Xia Tian lay face down on the table and started crying. I scratched my head. So she messed up again. 10 My first year grade rank is 15 in the academic year. But I know that if I don't manage my score, I will be first in the academic year. Xia Tian isn't that lucky. She scored 95 for the academic year, barely remaining in the rocket class. I breathed a sigh of relief. I don't want her to be eliminated, because I want her to stay here. Just as she said, staying here is a waste of time. When the report card was issued, the teacher praised me for being steady and steadily improving. I also scolded Xia Tian quite severely. At noon, after class, Xia Tian asked me in a furious, exasperated tone, "Jiang Xingyao, what's going on with you? Didn't I tell you to control your points? How is it that you copied mine and scored higher than me? Tell me, what ghost tricks did you pull?" I was at a loss whether to cry or laugh. Tian, I don't have any tricks up my sleeve. I was just lucky. The exam questions happened to be exactly what I reviewed the day before. There were some I didn't understand, so I copied a portion from you and guessed the rest myself. I don't believe you. She went hysterical, like a madwoman. Tell me now, what method did you use? I pretended to be scared by her. Tian, stay calm. I know you didn't do well and you're not feeling well, but I really don't have any special method. I hesitated for a moment. Her eyes lit up. Did you think of something? I nodded. I thought of something you once told me. You said that as long as I stayed in the rocket class, even if I'm just supervised, I could be admitted into 985. So I must not be the one you've caused to be like this with your smoke, right? Tian, even if you control points to deceive your competitors, you don't have to control so ruthlessly. Do you know you almost got eliminated? Xia Tian had a face that looked like she had eaten bitter herbs. Probably her guts are almost regretful to the green. Why did I come up with such a lousy idea in the first place and end up in the rocket class? After the test, Xia Tian's condition grew even worse. So the score for the second test was also lukewarm, although she still barely avoided elimination. Every day when she arrived at school she looked mentally absent. Even the word exams makes her tremble. She cannot keep up with the teacher's pace, and on several occasions she asked the teacher to reteach a concept after class, which caused discontent among the whole class. Xia Tian, You can't just catch up after class and drag everyone down. We can all do these problems. You can't take up everyone's time and have the teacher teach you the problems individually, right? After a few such incidents, she stopped speaking up. Since then, she has spent a great deal of time daydreaming. Next, she uses it to monitor every move I make. But she has been nice to me all along, because before the third model, she told me, "Xingyao, I reviewed very well this time. You should copy my answers exactly. Don't be polite." I eagerly handed over a cup of milk tea. "All right, Tian, I'll be frank then." 11 After the 3-episode exam, Xia Tian ranked 226th. This time, she was ruthlessly eliminated. After the third practice test, the expedition rally for junior year, 3rd grade, begins. At the meeting, the principal specifically praised me, because during the third practice test, I ruthlessly scored 738 points. Truly the first in the academic year. Amid thunderous applause, the principal asked me to come on stage to deliver a speech and share some experiences with everyone. I walked excitedly toward the podium. Before I could even steady myself, Xia Tian suddenly rushed over. She pushed me away with one hand, grabbed the microphone, and started shouting at the top of her lungs, "I'm Xia Tian, a classmate of Jiang Xingyao. Now, I'm here to help Jiang Xingyao share her experiences. Do you know? Her grades were all copied. Of the exam that got into the rocket class, she copied mine. And this time the mock exam, she must have copied from other surrounding classmates. Otherwise, she would not have been able to achieve such good results. So, I call on the school to thoroughly investigate this matter and expel Jiang Xingyao. This plagiarist." The principal and teachers were stunned. At a critical moment, Zhou Ili rushed forward to pull Xia Tian away. Xia Tian, seeing him, became even more excited. "Principal, I want to report again. Jiang Xingyao and Zhou Ili, ignoring student rules, dating, cutting classes, going online at an internet cafe, dating in a hotel." The principal glanced at the homeroom teachers of the two classes. The homeroom teacher's expression was hard to read. "Principal, Zhou Hong started with over 600 students at the beginning of the term. This time, the third mock exam had over 200 fewer, showing a great improvement. As for Jiang Xingyao, there's even less to say. Her grades are well known to everyone." So, although these two children have grown a bit closer, we don't believe they're in early romance. What are the ironclad rules of this world? How can good students have early crushes? Or, as long as it doesn't affect grades. So what if good students have early crushes? So, to sum up in the end, it must be that Xia Tian has gone crazy. But Xia Tian will not be defeated easily. She was like a monkey that jumps up and down, chattering noisily. If you don't conduct a thorough investigation into Jiang Xingyao's cheating and premature romance, I will report to the Education Bureau and post these incidents online. The principal, upon hearing this, felt a bit scared. Then go ahead and investigate. The teacher thought it wasn't necessary, and asked the students around me perfunctorily during the exam. They were so embarrassed that they started scratching the floor with their toes. "Teacher, our grades aren't as high as Jiang Xingyao's. They're about 40 or 50 points lower than hers. How could she copy mine?" But Xia Tian was relentless. The teacher had no choice but to assemble another set of questions and have Xia Tian personally supervise my exam, even inviting the police. As a result, I scored 739 on the set of papers. Looking at this score, Xia Tian shook her head and stepped back. "No way. You must have told her the answers in advance. That stupid pig of hers, in love at such a young age, often sneaks out of evening self-study to go on dates with Zhou Hong. How could she possibly score so high?" Everyone thought her mental state was not quite right. But they overlooked the old woman who barged in through the door. The moment the old woman walked in, she slapped my face. "I'll beat you to death. You little whore. Always cursing me for getting sick. I'm alive and kicking. I can eat 3 bowls of rice in one sitting. When have I ever been sick?" I was beaten until my ears rang. Upon closer look, It was my grandma who had arrived. The previously noisy Xia Tian quieted down and looked at me smugly. The homeroom teacher hurriedly protected me behind him. "Old lady, please speak calmly. You can't hit people. My grandma has plenty of strength." She tore the teacher aside in one go. "I discipline my own granddaughter. Use your authority. This little slut tricked you into thinking I was ill and then took leave to fool around with men. She lied to me about her good grades. In reality, she was copying Tian's work. Too young to be thinking about men, then stop studying and come home with me. I'll sell you off to a wife's family right away." The police rushed forward to stop them. "Sir, trafficking in persons is illegal. And besides, Jiang Xingyao just proved to us that her grades are genuine." My grandmother spat on the officer. "I'm marrying off my granddaughter. They give a betrothal gift. What law is there to break? Mind your own business." With that, she started pulling at me. At this moment, Zhou Yihang's parents arrived. Not only did they come, but they also brought the home study room surveillance camera. The surveillance proves that every time I took a leave of absence, I was going to his house to give Zhou Yihang extra lessons. Throughout the visit, the two of them talked nothing but study, and there was no physical contact of any kind. Actually, the first time I took leave and went out with Zhou Yihang was when his parents invited me to their home. Zhou Yihang didn't want to study abroad, so his dad said that if he could get into a 211 university, he would be allowed to stay in the country. For him at that time, this was as difficult as climbing to the sky. So he asked me to tutor him. As for the tutoring fees, of course they are very substantial. My family is poor, and I know that besides grades, money is also very important to me. So I readily agreed. Fortunately, Zhou Yihang is very similar to the me before. With a clever mind, only that he becomes lazy when it comes to studying. To that end, I held a meeting with 4 successful candidates and tailored a study plan for him. Well, his grades just shot up. Zhou's parents spoke to my grandmother kindly and explained, "Old lady, Xingyao is a good child. She just enjoys helping others and hasn't been hanging out with our son." My grandma can't hear these. She was determined to seize this opportunity to sell me out, so that she wouldn't have to spend the family's money on my schooling in the future. Xia Tian, seeing the plan succeed, wished every pore on her body could laugh. But she soon couldn't laugh anymore, because Father Zhou gave my grandmother 20,000 yuan. The old lady was so delighted that her mouth could barely close, and she turned back to tell me to get along well with Zhou Yihang. The farce finally came to an end. Xia Tian was so furious that her breathing grew rapid, as if her lungs were about to explode. You all helped Jiang Xingyao bully me, didn't you? It's fine. There will be the college entrance examination soon, and after the exam you will know. She is a cheater, just a copycat and a liar. 12 After the expedition ceremony, Zhou Ili and I did not go to the school again. The principal gave us a special exemption, and the reason was simple. Xia Tian was very aggressive. The school couldn't kick her out of campus, and likewise could not stop her from harassing me and Zhou Ili. So, in order to ensure that our moods would not be affected, we agreed not to attend school. Since then, every morning after I wake up, I go to Zhou Ili's house. I eat 3 nutritious meals in his family's restaurant, take a nap in a clean and comfortable guest room, and study in the air-conditioned study. But every night at 10 o'clock, Zhou's family will send me back to my own home. Mother Zhou is heartbroken watching me shuttle back and forth, and she has invited me to sleep at Zhou's house many times. I declined politely. The college entrance exam hasn't begun yet, and my future is uncertain, whether their intentions are sincere or not. This is not the best time for me to move into the Zhou family's home. June approaches quickly. After Children's Day joy fades, the final sprint moment arrives in the blink of an eye. On the day of the college entrance exam, I surprisingly ended up sharing a test room with Xia Tian. Her gaze grew gloomier, and she spoke to me in a near-killing tone. "Jiang Xingyao, the real exam is coming. Your lies will be exposed soon." I smiled lightly at her. Tian, I sincerely wish you to achieve a good result." She was stunned for a moment, snorted, and walked to her seat. These 3 days of exams are very easy for me. After finishing the exams, I slept for several days and then went to find a tutoring job. I had to earn my own college expenses. Although Zhou Yili's family gave me a generous payment and assured me that if he got into a prestigious university, they would reward me with 200,000 yuan. But I still felt that finding a normally paid job would make me feel more secure. 13. The day the results were released was coming. When I arrived at the classroom, the school leaders were all there, and the teachers in the computer lab had even set up cameras. The teacher arranged for me to be the last one to check the grades on purpose, hoping to leave the big news for the finale. Scores were posted one by one. Some people were happy, others disappointed. At that moment, urgent footsteps came from the corridor. Right away. Jiang Xingyao, Jiang Xingyao. Someone called me. I turned my head, and I saw my mom and dad, exhausted from their journey, appear at the classroom door. I haven't seen them for a long time. The last time we met was before I even started high school. My nose felt a bit stinging with tears. I wanted to rush forward, but their eyes on me seemed a little distant. The homeroom teacher looked at me strangely. Xingyao, what is this? They are my parents. The teacher smiled awkwardly. For all 3 years in high school, at every parent-teacher meeting, my parents never showed up. During the college entrance examination, other people's parents would accompany their children to the exam and wait anxiously outside the exam hall. But my parents did not appear. After the last exam was finished, all the children received flowers, but my parents still did not show up. That day, I stood in place and envied others. When Zhou Yixing's mother handed me the sunflowers, I almost cried. The teacher invited my parents into the classroom to wait for the score check. I look at the people behind them. It's Xia Tian. I finally understand why my parents came. Just like the time my grandmother slapped me, it was all arranged by Xia Tian. She believed I would definitely fail the college entrance exam, so she wanted my parents to witness the moment. Then she took me to a different city to work as a fastener installer. Xia Tian looked at me and spoke arrogantly. Jiang Xingyao, I'm here to see your results. Earlier, a classmate had already messaged me that Xia Tian's score had come out, and it was 463 points. It's not my turn to check yet. I walked up to her. Or you come in and wait. I reached for her hand, as I used to do with my best friend, and walked toward my seat. She was momentarily stunned, looked down at the 2 hands clasped together. She smiled cynically. Jiang Xingyao, what are you doing? Do you still think of me as your good friend? I didn't hesitate at all. In my heart, you are my benefactor. If it weren't for you, there wouldn't be today's me. But I loosened my grip gently. At the moment I saw my parents. I have repaid your kindness. 14. Finally it was my turn to check the score. The moment a 0 appeared on the screen, time seemed to stop. Before anyone could cheer, my hair was violently pulled by my mother. Jiang Xingyao, I worked myself to the bone with your father to support you, and you showed us a big disappointment? Tian was indeed right, you copied it. You copied it. The teachers and classmates reacted and hurried to hold on to my mom. Xingyao's mom, you got it wrong. Xingyao scored high. This has been blocked. My father let out a loud shout and pushed the crowd apart. Don't fool Dad. We're not educated. We still know those digits. Isn't this 0 points? He grabbed my collar. Come on, go back home with Dad. There are 2 paths. Either marry or go to work. I was choked and couldn't breathe. Fortunately, the male classmates and male teachers united to save me. Tears fell in grievance. Through the tears, Xia Tian's face looked pale, and her whole body trembled nonstop. My mom and dad don't understand, but she does. She knew what a dazzling score I had earned. I wiped away my tears, stood up, and whispered to her, Xia Tian, thank you. I had never wanted to thank someone so urgently, but she really deserves my thanks. If it weren't for her, I wouldn't have had the chance to get into Tsinghua or Peking University, and in the future I wouldn't be able to break away from this kind of family. Xia Tian suddenly screamed and pounced. She shook my shoulder desperately. Jiang Xingyao, didn't I tell you to control your score? Why did you copy so high? You copied mine. How can you be higher than me? The classroom is in a mess. People split into several groups. Some pulling my mom, some dragging my dad. Now another group has to come out to tug at Xia Tian, until my phone rang with a piercing ring. It is the admissions hotline for Tsinghua and Peking University. My parents were stunned, and after a moment of silence, they asked the principal, "Isn't it really Jiang Xingyao deceiving us?" The principal guaranteed it person by person. "This thing is absolutely true." My dad patted his chest and laughed. "See? I said my daughter would be promising. My wife and I have devoted ourselves to her completely. If she doesn't get into Qingbei, how could we face ourselves?" 15 The day I received the Qingbei admission notice, I heard that Xia Tian had been sent to a mental hospital. But not long after, due to the high treatment costs, her family brought her back out. Later I heard that they sent him away to work for a few days, and after that there was no news. Most likely, he was sold. And in my best student group, on the night we received the admission letter, the system dissolved it. Before the dissolution, I, the newly minted top scholar, cried very sadly. Those 4 people also cried until their throats were hoarse. For the sake of the bond these months have created, for the system awarding each of them 500,000 yuan in reward, and also so they can finally see daylight again. Only then did I know that these 4 were really senior students from Tsinghua and Peking University. They were in a car accident in the real world and fell unconscious, and were then pulled into this group. They also left me their names and phone numbers, asking me to contact them when I went to Qingbei. Before setting off to report to the school, Jody Lee's family treated me to a meal. Joey Lee performed well and scored 620 points, and got into a prestigious 985 university he liked. The Zhou family gave me 200,000 yuan as promised, and I did not refuse. That day I ate heartily. Joey Lee had a few drinks and, a bit drunk, confessed his feelings to me. He said at first he only found the way I eat things adorable, not as self-conscious as other girls in front of guys. After seeing that I got into the rocket class, not only was I not eliminated, I even became the provincial top scorer. And he truly fell in love with me. He also said that his family really likes me, and his parents approve of me becoming their daughter-in-law. Xingyao, anyway we're both adults. Why don't we go ahead and get engaged first? I almost choked. What are you rushing for? We're adults. We're only 18 years old. Zhou Yihong sighed. You're so outstanding. I'm just worried someone else will snatch you away from me. Is it really not good? Think about it. Okay? I gulped down the water in my hand. Joey Lee, if you can come to Qingbei to study for a master's degree 4 years from now, I'll consider you. As for now, I just want to hurry to Qingbei and meet those 4 top scholars face to face.